On page 38, House Calendar 527, favorable report of the Joint Standing Committee on Judiciary. Senate Bill 802, an act concerning liability for damage caused by a police dog.
Representative Simmons.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move for acceptance of the Joint Committee's favorable report and passage of the bill in concurrence with the Senate.
Questions on acceptance of the Joint Committee's favorable report and passage of the bill in concurrence with the Senate. Will you remark, Madam?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill essentially creates a rebuttable presumption that the household member of a canine officer is not automatically deemed the keeper of a canine dog under the dog bite statute. And it's in response to a case that happened in Stanford where a canine officer's wife was sued in response to a dog bite incident that occurred when she was nowhere near the incident when it happened. And we believe that this language is necessary to help protect canine officers' families from unwarranted personal liability and lawsuits. And it's also critical to the future of the canine program, which is a vital tool in this state for fighting crime. In Stanford, we rely on our canine unit for narcotics detection, bomb detection, and arson detection purposes. And I urge my colleagues to support this bill and move for adoption. Through you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Madam. Would you care to remark? Would you care to remark further on the bill that's before us? Representative Rabimbas.
Thank you. I rise in support of the legislation that's before us, but certainly there are, just for clarification purposes, a few questions to the representative.
Please proceed, Madam.
Thank you. Through you to the representative, if there's a presumption that the individual in the home is not the keeper of the dog, if there is an incident where there's damages or injuries, who is to presume to be the actual keeper of the dog? Through you.
Representative Simmons.
Through you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you for that question, Representative. And the canine dog is owned by the municipality for which it works. So in that case, the municipality would be the official owner of the canine dog. Through you, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Rabimbas.
Thank you. And through you, is this only regarding dogs that are still in the commission of being utilized by the municipality? In other words, would this apply to any animal that gets retired and the family adopts the animal? Through you.
Representative Simmons.
Through you, Mr. Speaker. You're correct, Representative. It only applies to those that are currently still active in the canine unit.
Representative Rabimbas.
Thank you. And again, I rise in support of the legislation that's before us.
Thank you, Madam. Would you care to remark further on the bill that's before us? Representative Carney.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Just a question for the proponent of the bill through you.
Please proceed, sir.
I just have a question. If somebody is, say, a family member is walking the police dog through a park without the actual canine officer with them and that dog were to attack somebody, how would you reconcile that through this bill? Through you, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Simmons.
Through you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you for that question, Representative. And in that case, the municipality could still be held liable for any damages caused to the victim. But what we're doing here is only creating a rebuttable presumption that the household member is not the keeper of the dog. So you could still rebut that. And if you could prove that that household member was in exclusive control of the canine dog at that time, that there was negligence or excessive force used, you could still hold the household member liable in that circumstance. Through you, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Carney.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. No further questions.
Thank you, sir. Would you care to remark further on the bill that's before us? Representative Zupkis.
Mr. Speaker, when we heard this bill in public safety first, it came out with unanimously everyone in favor of it. So I do stand in support of this bill. I think that it does protect the police officer's family that owns the canine dog. So thank you, and I encourage my colleagues to support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam. Would you care to remark further on the bill before us? Representative Vail.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And if I may, through you, a question for the proponent of the bill.
Please proceed, sir.
In lines 14 through 17, if I may read them, in an action under this section against a household member of a law enforcement officer whom has been assigned a dog owned by the law enforcement agency of the state, any political subdivision of the state, or the federal government for damage done by such dog. would the legislative intent of that include the Department of Corrections Canine Unit? Through you, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Simmons.
Through you, Mr. Speaker, yes, correctional canine units would be included as well. Thank you.
Representative Vail.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I urge support of this bill. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Would you care to remark further on the bill before us? Representative Smith.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker, and thank you. Just a few comments and a question for the proponent of the bill.
Please proceed.
Ladies and gentlemen, the bill changes the standard in a civil action from a strict liability claim to now having to just prove a mere negligence for this type of claim. So my question through you, Mr. Speaker, as the proponent of the bill, as I read through it, it seems to exempt a household member. I shouldn't say exempt. It seems to change the burden of proof for a household member. And for legislative intent purposes, I want to make sure that the household member does not also include the canine officer. Is my understanding of the bill as drafted correct? Through you, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Simmons.
That's correct. Through you, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and no further questions.
Thank you, sir. Would you care to remark? Would you care to remark further on the bill before us? If not, staff and guests of the will of the House, members take your seats. The machine will be open.
The House of Representatives is voting by roll. The House of Representatives is voting by roll. Will members please report to the chamber immediately?
Have all the members voted? Have all the members voted? Members, please check the board to make sure your vote is properly cast. If all the members have voted, the machine will be locked and the clerk will take a tally. Will the clerk please announce the tally?
Senate Bill 802 in concurrence with the Senate. Total number voting 140. Necessary for passage 71. Voting yea 140. Nay 0. Absent not voting 11.
The bill passes in concurrence with the Senate.